You're now watching a clip from the Inspired by show. You can watch the full episode on our YouTube channel or listen on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. So make sure to head over there, leave us a 5-star rating if you enjoyed it, and follow the show.
What's next for David Reid?
I'd like to get back in the gym if you're talking about personal stuff. Despite having a couple of years of ill health and putting on some weight, I've still focused on, the Birtenshaw Group and the other businesses that I support. Personally, I would like to get fitter and healthier again. But I suppose I'm at that age where I think, is that really important? Who knows? I don't know. Maybe I will. I've been in the gym a few times recently, but it's harder work at this age. Professionally, the Birtenshaw Group, we have a stated business aim of creating a bespoke special needs school in every local authority in England within 10 years. And when you create a special needs school, you then have to, it almost becomes like a hub, and you have a satellite system of other services around it, because children who attend the special needs school, they're going to need things like hydrotherapy or physiotherapy or occupational therapy, speech and language therapy, all of which, of course, we do within the Birtenshaw Group. But when we open a new school, we have to plan for all of those additional services. And generally, if children with special education needs and disability, when they get to a puberty, usually around 10, 12 years old, something like that, they often then, their families need support at least part of the time with care services. So we need to create short break centres or children's homes. So whilst the stated aim is to have a special needs school in every local authority area in the country within 10 years, there'll be lots of satellite services around each one of those. But from start to finish, it's about 3 years to 4 years from saying, yes, we're going to do it in this area, to getting the land, getting the planning permission, commissioning a construction firm, and then there's usually about 18 months of build. So, you're talking about so I'm always looking 3 or 4, over 3 or 4 hills in the future. I mean, my team are working in the present. I'm kind of always thinking roughly 5 years or more ahead. And I know I can visualize where we want that next school and what it's going to look like and what other services might be around it. We've literally just opened a new school in January of this year. It was slightly delayed in terms of the construction phase. It was due to open in September last year, and there should have been 20 children coming to that school. But I'm damned if I was going to not give them an education service. So even though the building wasn't ready, even though we didn't have a school building to bring them to, I had acquired another building last year for a different purpose. And I contacted the DFE and said, these children, we can't bring them into the school. It's not ready. Can I use this other building? It's not a registered school. It's not a school building. It wasn't built as a school. And initially their answer was no. And I said, you don't understand. That's not the correct answer. So we had a bit of a debate, and we eventually got permission to use that building as a temporary school. And that meant that those 20 children who should have been coming to the new school building came to this other building that I'd acquired last year in September, went to school there between September and December, didn't miss any education whatsoever, and then transferred to the new building in January once we were able to open it. And I think it was another 12 children joined them in January, and then we've had some more join in April. So we're gradually working up to the full capacity of that building. Special schools tend to have lower numbers of children than other, what people refer to as mainstream schools. So we'll eventually have 72 children in that school building, but it's right beside the original school that I told you about that opened in 2012, and there's 60 children there, and they can share all of the resources. So between the two buildings, we've got 2 hydrotherapy pools. One is, I think it's about 15 or 17 meters. The other's Olympic size. I mean, it's massive. It's fabulous. We have swimming groups and parent and toddler swimming clubs that come and hire it out, when the school is closed, and they have swimming lessons for newborn babies and swimming lessons for toddlers. If you go in there on a Saturday, there's like hundreds of toddlers coming in throughout the day learning to swim. So there's 2 of those. We have multi-use games areas. By the way, that's called a mugga. My sports team, oh yeah, I didn't mention that. We've got a sports team. We have the only sports team that we know of in the UK that works with disabled children to try and get them into para sports. So somebody in my sports team kept talking about these muggas, I hadn't got a clue what I'm talk about getting into businesses you don't know anything about. I hadn't got a clue what a mugger was. Anyway, it's an outdoor multi-use games area. We've got a couple of those now. We've also got a fully accessible, full-size gym that children with special needs can use. And we've got outdoor gyms, and we've got lots of other resources. We do pony trekking and all that kind of stuff. So it's about giving these children the best experience and the best start in life. So that school, the one that opened in January, will be full by September. Because it's going to be full by September, I'm now planning the next one. So we're in negotiations with a couple of local authorities about how great the need is in certain areas before we finalise where that's going to be. Currently, though, there's a massive management restructure. The business is huge already, but it's for the next phase of growth. We need to restructure the whole senior management team. I've created a chief operating officer. I used to have 2 deputy chief executives who were my deputies. There's now a chief operating officer and a tier of executive directors. But I need to enhance that and grow that and embed that so that the business is ready for the future, for the next phase of growth. Remember to get to a 9-figure business. I don't know how many knots would there have to be before it's a 9-figure. I don't know, but for the next phase of growth.
Incredible. David, my question for you, you've achieved so much. And I remember when I first went into one of the facilities you have, I was like, because I've known you so well, but not in that capacity. When I walked in, I was like, oh my God, like David created this? Obviously not on your own, but it's your vision. Have you ever had that moment where you've been into some facility you've created, or a moment where you've gone, I can't believe I'm the one that did this?
Each new building we create, I go into it, and there's 2 things that happen almost simultaneously. There's one side of my brain that says, anyone looking at this is going to think it's fabulous. And the other side of my brain is picking out the faults, the things that I can see that aren't exactly as I designed them or exactly as I'd requested them or as I envisaged them. So it's almost that duality again of the positive and the negative. The new building that opened in January, anybody that comes to that building, the one you've been to is in Merseyside. We took all the learning from that. The one we opened in January is even better than that one, but I can still see faults in it. So yes, I walk in and I can see how great it is, but I can also see we need to make sure this doesn't happen for the next one. So there's always that ongoing learning and that ongoing striving for excellence and being better the next time around. There's no point in doing it the same again. You're going to do it better. But I tell you what does happen. Most special schools that I visit that aren't part of the Birtenshaw Group, or most children's homes that I visit that aren't part of the Birtenshaw Group, I go into and I think, really? We allow some of the most vulnerable children and young people in our society to live in this? Our sector needs to change. And if you like, I see Birtenshaw or the Birtenshaw Group as leading the way for the part of the sector that supports children with special education needs and disability. But there are other parts of the sector that deal with, I suppose, what most people refer to as mainstream children, or perhaps children with behaviours that can be considered challenging, or perhaps who have a primary diagnosis of a mental health issue. There needs to be a disruptor like the Birtenshaw Group in that part of the market.